All righty, everyone. Welcome back to the Coaches Union. I now have a better podcast and a better microphone that hopefully records correctly this time. So, Alex, how are you doing today?
Man, I just forgot we're actually posting this video, so I can't be on my phone.
I'm trying my best not to.
I am great. I am full speed right now. Um, Leaving for Detroit on Friday morning. Callie's looking wild. Hopefully I'll be back on next week for an update on us winning. And yeah, things are moving right along, man.
I believe so. Could we? I'm gonna put you on the spot. Could we do next week, like walk through her peak week?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. I think it'd be really cool for the listeners to see. We got a lot to talk about. I was busy too. You can tell where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
In team lift weekend, travel to Alabama Monday.
Didn't
I
see
am
me. Came and worked out at my gym and didn't see me.
your gym.
Yeah. I pay for Austin's gym membership. I might as well fucking pay for Trey's gym membership there. Yeah. I'm the reason the boys go there.
Okay. Well, can you pay for my gym membership too?
I mean, yeah, dude, if you come work out with me.
Dude, I'm sorry. I think your schedule is much different than mine.
Why do I sound like fucking who's who's the guy that owns Facebook?
What's his name?
I can't think of his name.
What's his name?
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg.
Why
Yes.
do I sound like him hanging out with all the UFC fighters? He probably just
Bro,
like the Zuckerberg of our team.
I am very sorry that I didn't train with you, Alex. It was a lot. Dude, I met an 82-year-old there that I think is going to be my best friend.
Was he a short, bald guy, kind of a little bubble gut?
He couldn't have been more than 120 pounds if I had to guess. But he came up to me, Colvin, and my client Trey, who's 6'6", 260, and was just flabbergasted that we existed.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he was so cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that gym's 24E in Hoover. That gym's it's a hidden gym, man. Hopefully no one listening goes to it because I don't have to leave again.
Guys, please don't go. It's really cool. Got a lot to talk about. The biggest topics that we're going to discuss are going to be prepping with a significant other, post show blues, posing getting out of control, annoying things that clients do, training exercises to getting used to the same shit over time. So I'm reading these cliff notes that I was given. And then obviously going back into bodybuilding and relationships. And then the first one that we got asked is, when did we know that we would be boys for life? Alex, would you like to start?
Oh man. I want to hear yours first because I know what I'm gonna say. I'm kind of curious, unless you're not ready.
Yeah, I'm not ready. You go
Okay.
first.
So we met. I shouted you out on my first podcast. I don't remember the year. But I remember you had potential and I was a fan of you. And that's so weird. I was a fan of you.
Was is
Yeah,
past tense.
not a fuck. Never meet your idols, fellas. Um, but no. And we just like became friends. Like we hit it off. Like you came on a podcast that I had previously with Josh, and then um, yeah, we just slowly started coaching you and slowly started working together. And there's a few moments where like me and you have this thing where we're literally like the yin and yang. Like
Mhm,
if you were to look at us like together, you'd be like, wow, like they look nothing alike. And
mhm,
a lot of like the things we do, we don't really act alike. But at the same time, we are exactly alike. And we dress complementary of each other, but it's never the same. It's
mhm,
like we're this like weird like tandem like duo. Um, but it got highlighted. I remember the first time that actually was on that podcast I used to do, and we were going in on a coach that had gone in on Josh.
mhm,
And like it was like every time I would get hot and say something, you would like match it and like level it up. And then I would
mhm,
match it. And like we were just feeding off each other. And it was very like symbolic of our relationship and how we are. Like
mhm.
you're the one person who, if I say fuck that dude, you're like, yeah, it's fuck that dude.
For
And
sure. Yeah, dude.
like there's no question we don't like, and it's the same way giving back. And like
Mhm.
there's no question of like what they did, how come it's like, yep, okay. Like we had that guy, I won't put him out here, but he was a personal trainer at a gym, and he had something to say about one of your clients, like, oh, you're taking gear now with Chris. And like, dude, I went and canceled my gym membership. So I don't
Mhm.
need to see that, fucking loser. Like, who's he? And it wasn't anything like you weren't like Alex could do that. It's like, no, like my loyalty with you, like you don't like us, fuck you. Like, but me and you keep that energy in literally every aspect. And the longer we became friends and the more that I would see that, like anytime something serious has happened, like I'm there, you're there, and it's never, we don't miss a beat. Like it's
Yeah.
just like there. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's when I first noticed it was like how we fed off each other was that conversation we were having.
Yeah, man. I think, yeah, and going back to it, for those who don't know, basically what happened was it's a full circle situation. Alex sat behind my dad at my first show and told my dad that I was really good at this because my father had no idea what bodybuilding was. We found that out years later. And then Alex on a previous podcast, um, the question was like, who has the most potential in Tennessee and Alabama? And Alex said me, comma, he was like, he has, I forget what it was. It was like, he's got it, but it's not all there or something of the sorts where it was like, there's potential, but it's not being utilized.
Yeah.
Right. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, I respect the shit out of that because I'm so used to hearing the first part of that sentence, but no coach has ever done anything to make the second part happen. Right. And I was like, okay, like that's what I want to hear versus like, I was just so used to being brought in by like enablers and yes men. And I was like, I need someone who's going to like hold me to the standard that I should be at because I'm very unaware of that.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where we started. And I remember we trained with Josh. Um, I think like a couple weeks later, and I had just come off of being sick, and I posed for you, and you were like, "Yeah, you could be good," and I was like, "That's what I want to hear. Thank you so much." Like it always was led with like brutal honesty, right? Like there was always, it was never sugar coated, and it was always very direct and to the point, which I respected, and why I hired you as a coach. I don't really know like how we became like actual like friends because like we just talked. I don't, there wasn't like just like a unifying moment, but we just talked all the time and just consistently. But I would say like the Josh situation was one of them too because again I value loyalty very heavily. And I've always been that person where it's like, dude, if you're my best friend, fuck anybody else. Like, as far as if you have a problem with them, I have a problem with them. I don't care if that's ignorant or narrow minded. It's how I operate with people. Like, if you're in my corner and they're not mine either, you know? And I saw that, but I think like Beach Bash 23 was like sick as fuck. Like,
Mhm.
that was just a good ass weekend. And that's when I was like, oh, yeah, for sure. Or like when we lifted at Olympus,
Mhm.
I think that was another moment too where I was like seeing you train. Because again, I went from shit guidance, and I've said it before, but I remember when I trained with my last coach, and I was like,
Yeah. We did the Penlay rows, didn't we?
we did Pinley rows, yeah, we did like, and that's what I was like, okay, so this is like, it was like the right combination for me, is like psychologically as an athlete because I didn't want somebody who was like pink dumbbell and precise. And I didn't want like the bullshit. I wanted like, dude, let's just train hard. And
Yeah.
there's logic and thought, but like generally speaking, it's effort. But I remember even, dude, like you went up to Josh and you're like, are we training hard today or what? And I was like, fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah. It's and so it's funny because like it really is full circle because my previous training company's name was Aftermath Training, and it I named it for multiple, there's two different reasons. One, like ATPs, adenosine triphosphate, but then more importantly, Aftermath was like Eminem. And so it went back to the two people that brought me to the dance of coaching was Trey Cosper and Will Wise. And Trey, in any rap song that we would rap, and everyone like Eminem's like, hey Dre, it rhymed with Trey. And same
Mhm,
thing with the game. The game would talk about stuff, and he'd always like shout out Dre. Anytime I would just flip it, and I would always just say Trey. And
mhm,
so, and then the person above him is Jimmy Iovine, who ran the whole label. that was Will Wise because I was under Will Wise at the time. And so that's like my symbolism for that. And then lo and behold, who did Eminem go get? He went and got 50 Cent. His first album was Get Rich or Die Trying. Your team name is Die Trying. It was like it couldn't have been written any better. And
Yeah.
you know, obviously like that's like, probably the most emotion like people will get out of me. But that's something that like I take pride in our friendship with that
Mhm.
because like me and you've had hard conversations. Me and you have like not gotten along for like
Yeah. Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
was another moment was when we actually talked about it. And
Yeah.
you opened up about some things that I you needed from me. I opened up about some things. I was like, oh, that's like my real friend. Like rather
Mhm.
than just like giving each other the finger and be like, fuck off, dude. Like it's we were down to ride. And then obviously like the banter and antics we get like off air that no one will ever know about. Like it's yeah. So without like confessing my love for you, you're my best friend till I
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
You too, man. I think like, and I'll get sappy about shit too, because I'm someone who like I've struggled for a lot of my adult life to kind of like find the right people. Especially I think again leading up to this, like previous to meeting you, 2022 was a abysmally terrible year for my life. I went through addiction for probably like 8 months of that. Um, and in a lot of ways was like very much like actively, I'm just going to overshare, actively and passively chasing suicide because I just had nothing. I didn't care. And I was surrounding myself with people who fucking blew, like, and made it worse. And I was shitty to them and they were shitty to me. And so 2022 was very much my rock bottom. And the end of 22, I decided to get sober and try to like figure out how to serve myself and others. And part of that was letting go of every person previous to that.
Yeah.
And so it was like we couldn't have met, like genuinely, like that podcast, hearing that like reinstilled a lot of my hope in myself because I was told previously that I was never going to be a good bodybuilder. And then I bought that and went and got addicted to drugs and really was a terrible bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And so like hearing that made me feel like I still had a chance. And then meeting you obviously like reinstated that. And then now, like, dude, I look back at like 2 years ago and I'm like, where the fuck was I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I attest a majority of that to our friendship.
Yeah. Dude, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys,
So yeah,
moving.
welcome back to the podcast, y'all.
Yeah. So that's our love story. But yeah, man, it's cool as fuck, and it's like it inspires me as a coach and as an athlete to continue to like try to level myself up and like what I bring to the stage. And obviously, like we have like a really cool thing because it's like it's like I mean, obviously you're because I don't want to fuck up affiliations. Like you are obviously with J3 University, but like I feel like locally we have like a community within like my
Yeah.
people and your people, and it's just like I feel like we got something really cool going on.
I think our clients and like listeners listening, like we're getting to that point where like if they see you, they're like, "Where's Alex?" And they see me, they're like, "Where's Chris?" Like it's and everyone knows that it's mutual and it's okay to get along with other people. And I
Yeah.
think something missing in the coaching industry is like, quote teams can be friends with other teams, right? Doesn't have to be all animosity. Um, but
That
yeah,
was the whole idea for this podcast. You know what I mean? Is like we're not. This isn't a game where because again, like a lot of this coaching space is turned into sales and marketing. And
yeah,
so a lot of it's just like dick riding and disingenuousness in the sense of like, I'm only going to bring on like, it was like if I only had a podcast with my assistant coaches and only push them, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, yes, there is gain from that for me in the same sense, but like, I don't gain anything financially from you getting clients, but as a friend and someone who I respect what you do, I would be more than happy to send anybody your way. I send people to you all the time
Yeah,
and vice versa because it's like we're both just here with pure intentions to like see each other succeed.
and that's something that I think I don't want to say people need to appreciate. They just need to like. It's cool that there is no. It doesn't do me anything to put you on, like money wise, but I do it because I want to see you do good. Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason that just you go and you use an artist. Like, there's no reason that like I can't put an album out and you can't put a good album out too. Like there has to be that. And so the fact that we embrace it rather than just being like, fuck off, like, why do you like, dude, you coach people in my city and I coach people in
Yeah.
your city, like literally in each other's gyms. And it's never
Yep.
weird. It's never whatever. It's like, oh, awesome. So, yeah, long story short, guys, find a friendship like mine and Chris's, and you'll probably be very happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, we're the dynamic duo. And unfortunately, we have fucking people in the same shows this year. So thank you, Alex. I appreciate that.
Sorry. I did apologize.
You did. You did. It'll be fun. I'm excited. I think it'll be cool though, because again, it's like I want to see your people succeed and mine succeed, and we'll know that day what happens.
Yeah. They won't be in the same height class, which is
Oh, then we're fucking fine.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll be good. Oh, we'll see at the overall. Um, you want to get into of the deep topics, what do you want to move to first? Post show, relationships and bodybuilding.
Let's talk about relationships. I feel like everyone's been asking about relationships and bodybuilding. Which I don't know why they're asking us, but well, give you my best shot, right?
Yeah, I will do my best. Prepping with the significant other is challenging for all parties involved. I say it, but like genuinely prep takes a village to get you through it. It's going to take all the support in the world. Um, it's going to take it's like again we take anything in bodybuilding, it's the basic principles that we exemplify and we have to make them extreme. So in the case of a healthy relationship, it comes down to boundaries and respecting those, communicating and our expectations and communicating those and then fulfilling them. If you can do those three things, you're going to have a good relationship. But now we have to be very, very, very good at and direct about all three of those things all of the time, which I think is generally where things fall apart. Like, and again, we touched base on it, but like from a pharmacokinetics perspective, this is a very slippery slope when depending on where you're at in prep.
Yeah, so there's a few angles I want to approach this by, and one is like obviously, if your significant other competes or has competed, like myself, like I have competed, I know what it feels like to be 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out, a week out, peak week, show day. I know the stress of that. So, like, as they get leaner, I know what to do. Like, I know how to support that. I know what they need, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that, but at the same time, not everyone has competed and or coaches. So it's difficult for them to fully understand. And so like if you were to take me, okay, we'll use me for example, if I'm with somebody getting close to a show, like you're expecting them to be tired all the time. You're expecting them to be quiet, like not as talkative, like sex drive is down. They're just not as they're they have to be selfish. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't mean selfish as in they can't care about you, but like if they have to get up and like get their shit done for the day because they have a lot to do that day, training, cardio, work, all sometimes all three in the same day, or they're traveling or doing whatever, like they're not really going to worry like if you've been kissed on the forehead or if you got a good morning or good night text or whatever. They're not, and it's not because they don't care. It's because their energy is allotted like only so much, and so they have to focus on what's necessary. A lot of times when you're very close to a show, and again we'll use let's say 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out, whatever. Um, we'll use that, and it's like okay. I I have so much bandwidth here. I have to get this stuff done. It's the most important thing because I know if I start feeling like shit, these things have to be done. Like laundry has to be done, dishes have to be done. Like I have to focus on that. I can't really worry if you're comforted or not. And so I think the biggest thing I would recommend is just be understanding and do not take things personally. If they snap, if they are tired, if they're just not really into you for a couple days, a couple weeks, like if they're, randomly up hot and cold, like enjoy the highs, and which the highs will be the day they get food. Enjoy the, when their cardio's down and where they don't have to train, that added stress of them is there. Enjoy that. And then remember those times of when they are struggling and when it is like a suffering day or a long work day or a long cardio day. Like, just remember they're still there. And like, hopefully you've done such a good job that by the time they come out of competing, they're like, wow, I really need to reward them and like thank them and show them my appreciation and that love that I know I didn't give them. And so competitors listening, be aware of that and like be ready to like, damn, like I know like I wasn't really giving them much action or giving them much attention or whatever it may be. And like just try to make up for
Mhm.
like that was something that I think it's very critical. I think too, if you're, I'll go back to if you're with someone who competes or coaches, right? That person is not, most of the time, isn't your coach. So like they need to understand their role is not to coach. They are your fan. They are your support. They're there to carry your bags. They're there to make, hey, you want to help with preparing my meals too? But like, you do not need to chime in and tell them what you think of their plan or their, like,
Mhm.
it's none of their business, regardless if they're, a pro, an amateur, or whatever, because that's their coach's job. And
Mhm.
I'm not a big fan of like coaching like significant others. Like I'm not a big fan of like coaches doing that because those lines get blurred so very easily.
Mhm.
Um, and again, it's just taking the personal out of decision making. Um, and so that's where you don't need to overstep. Like if you are a significant other, and this is mostly guys, like you
Yeah.
need to know your role. It's very, few times girls will chime in and try to correct something on a plan, but guys will typically do that. So that would be kind of my takes on it is like just be understanding. Couples, my biggest advice would be I never have couples do the same show. I hate it. I think it's a disaster. I think you definitely need to be 8 weeks out at most, or excuse me, like at least. Like
Mhm.
y'all can be in prep at the same time, but like you need to be in a position where you are able to stop for that weekend and be there for them. Whether
Mhm.
it be carrying their bags, whether it be, just emotionally being there, not having to run off at, 10 p.m. on a Friday to go do cardio, or you don't need to be waking up show day morning to go do your cardio because you're 2 weeks out. Like you need to have an allotted 48 hours, like solely there for your person.
Mhm.
Like no distractions, just be there for them. And they need to be able to give that to you. Like a lot of times people think, oh, it'd be great. We're doing the same show. We'll already be there. Cool. No, when she's trying to get lashes and her hair done, and then you're needing to like heat up cream of rice, it's neither one of you are enjoying each other in that moment because you're both
Yeah.
in your selfish mode as you should be.
Mhm.
And you shouldn't like it just it doesn't work. Like you need to be okay, I'm their support system this weekend, then they're my support system.
Yeah.
You can't do both.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot in that. And I obviously I agree with all of it. I think too, like going, at least in my experience, because I do work with a lot of first time competitors. So I have had partners give pushback in the past to their, my athlete or athletes. And then usually after they go to a show for the first time, it makes a lot more sense. And it's like, okay, this is why this was all worth it. That being said, two things can be true, right? Like that doesn't negate the fact of feeling neglected, feeling unwanted, or dealing with an asshole is not fun. It's not pleasant at the end of the day. Um, but some of these things are preventative in a sense of like if you look at your love languages, right? When we look at preps, quality of time and physical touch are going to diminish. If those are your preferred means of receiving love, conversations are going to have to be put into place about what that's going to look like when we can't go on date night 2 3 nights a week, when we might not get a free meal for 3 weeks at a time or whatever it may be. We have to start learning how to be more mindful of the time that we do have together, and also keeping in mind that your partner has a very minimal physical and mental bandwidth to utilize. So I wouldn't say, oh, hey, let's spend some time together. Let's go on a hike at 3 weeks out. Or like, let's go to the fair where there's just food and you're walking around the whole time. Like, let's pick more sedentary activities like puzzles or video games or anything else. From a physical touch perspective, the thing you have to remind yourself is like, these drugs will affect people's sex drives in a lot of different ways. You'll have some people where their sex drive goes through the roof. You have some people where it hits the floor. Obviously, the deeper we get into prep, the leaner you get in body fat. It is expected that your sex drive is going to be very minimal, if not non-existent. That's not their choice. It's like we've talked about, dude. It's like you get a cheat meal, 2 hours later, you're horny. That is the window. Like what? Like once a week for 2 hours, you got it to go, and that's it. And that's hard. But again, it requires communication of, hey, I don't feel wanted right now. How do we navigate this together? Because the issue tends to be when both parties don't communicate. I
Yeah.
will also speak to the part that Alex said. Your partners also just assume they're retarded at that point. Assume sub 8 weeks out, they're dumb and stupid and forgetful, and they aren't cognitively present in today's day and age. They are just in their own world. They're not going to read minds. They're not going to be observant of small little trends or body language. You just have to be very direct of, hey, this is what I didn't like. This is what's happening. We need to find a solution together. So it's not a me versus you, it's an us versus the problem situation.
Yeah.
That is my therapy for that. And then on the flip end, as the competitor, it is your only fucking job after show to make up for all of this. That is your one job beyond following the reverse. It's giving back. The other thing, too, for me, now that I'm thinking about it, you might have to shift your love languages. Most people I know in prep get manic when it comes to spending. Start buying them presents, dude.
Yeah.
Buy them flowers, buy them fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
It So I'll start tying some like client, like some anecdotal like evidence I've experienced in the past. Usually the guy, like it's the guys who don't compete are the worst to deal with when coaching a female. And then like the females who don't compete are usually still semi-supportive. Sometimes I think it's kind of dumb or they're kind of been like drugged through the ringer a little bit, with the attitude and like being snappy. Um, but like I'll say this, as a significant other who's not competing, it is not your place to tell them what you're attracted to. And if
mm,
they're getting, quote, unattractive, or you like them better, bigger, or more curvy, or in their off season better, that is, you get beyond the point. Like, you get to the point with females, they, we know both male and females, it's not like it gets no longer, quote, attractive to the average human, right?
mhm.
Like I love it. I'm like, oh, that's impressive. But it's like for a typical female, like, yes, she probably herself liked her look 8 weeks out and 10 weeks out and 12 weeks out. So like not only is she struggling with getting harder and leaner and not as, quote, feminine, then she has to listen to you bitch about it is like the
Mhm.
last thing we want to hear. Cause like, and then it's like, if you're really like, if you're already complaining that you're not like, she's not physical with you, and then you want to go tell her you don't like how she looks, when good luck, dude, and
Good
then,
call.
I remember, I had a girl tell me, she was like, she's like, it's just a lot. Like, she's like talking about my leg veins. And I was like, yeah, like I get it. But like, like working out to her was like going to a bar class. So like, obviously it didn't really work, but like it's just something that, at the end of the day, your significant other should love you enough and support you with whatever you want to do. And if this is what you're choosing to do, then like they need to be by your side, like skeleton face and bitching and moaning and tired and hangry. Like that's like you're theirs. Like that should be your person for a reason. Your person shouldn't bring you stress more to the situation. Like, and also they don't give a fuck what they want to eat after your show. It should be about what you want to eat. Like,
Mhm.
don't bring that like, oh, well, like they wanted this or they want that. Like, no, like the significant other should not be selfish for, like I said, for 48 hours. Where if it's whatever they want, like they want a strawberry Sprite for a fucking Shirley Temple from one restaurant that has it in the city, well, go get it. Like, just go
Yeah.
get it. Like,
Yeah.
they'll make up for it some other way. Or like if dude wants just a fucking thing of whiskey or whatever, like just make them happy for 48 hours. And I promise you, once they're fed, the stress of the show's gone on, that Sunday and Monday will come, they'll be able to breathe and they'll be like, wow, like, okay, thank you. Like you were awesome, babe. And
Oh, they'll have the realization in the bathroom that night. They're like, I was a piece of shit.
yeah, they
You know what I
should.
mean?
And if they don't, well, then they're probably just a heartless human, and you shouldn't have gone all that effort anyway and go find you a new person who doesn't bodybuild because it didn't work, you know?
Yeah, like well, I hate that more than anything, right? Like I don't care for partners' opinions when it comes to where they're at and what they're doing because I'm like, that's not your job. It's actually only my job. Um, but it blows my mind how many times I'll see that happen post show where it's like the partner feels indebted to, so therefore we have to go to fucking Chili's or wherever to
Yeah.
go eat. And like, here's my thing. Like, and obviously, like, I'm going to advocate for the athlete as I'm the coach and an athlete myself. But like, I promise the 2 hours of shit attitude that you deal with, or whatever a day, or however much time it is, does not necessarily compare. Though it's a choice. It's a choice. The hell that is prep. Like, it's not easy for them either. Like, it's actually significantly harder. You just have to be witness to them being a douche. Like, leave the room. I know people who just don't live together during prep. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But also, man, like, get your shit together.
well,
Like,
no, agreed for sure.
yeah,
Like,
like you as like just if you're an emotionally like competent human being, should be able to process and analyze another human being going through some shit, and you should love them enough to support them, whether you agree with it or not. Like, if they want to do it, then fucking be there with them. Like, who cares if they get dead last, if they turn pro, if they're at the Olympia, like if that's what they want to do, well then fucking support them. And if they don't want to do it, afterwards, cool, y'all can make that decision together. But like while they're in it, don't talk,
don't make
don't
it harder.
yeah, like don't do that. Like it's that Meredith Grey when she's fucking in Grey's Anatomy when what's her name? Christina's like, he's not the son, Meredith, you are. Like that, like both y'all, guys and girls, keep that energy, man. Like if you're competing, you're the fucking son. Nothing else should matter.
Yeah.
Figure it out after the show. We don't have time to figure it out. If your relationship's not stable enough by 12 weeks out, it's not the right relationship. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
prepping. You're like if you're having to go through some shit 12 weeks out, that's not the time to prep. But like your relationship should be stable enough that you can prep with no outside issues because you know that person has your back. And
Yeah.
that's all I got to say on that.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. I think it covers it, truthfully. Um, do you want to do post show reversing, post show blues binging? You want to do that one next?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So this one also sucks. We're just getting all the heavy shit out first. Um, so post show, and this is why I'm very adamant about when someone reaches out to me about prep. It's a conversation of prep, and then an additional 12 to 20 weeks after show is when I discuss a timeline of working together with somebody because post show is an incredibly crucial time. I'm going to walk through like I'm going to walk through each of my post shows and we can kind of break them down and understand how shitty it can really get. My first show, so I did a 33-week prep. I had a history of eating disorders. I had a hit list of food on my notes app. Actually, I still have it. I know that I still have it, but I had a hit list of foods on my notes app that every time I was like nearing a mental breakdown, I would just start writing down different foods that I wanted in that moment. And after my show, I made it a point to eat all of them. And I didn't have a post show plan to follow. I was not given one. I was told to enjoy myself and continue to take the drugs, and it will all work itself out. I gained 53 pounds in 21 days. I gained 53 pounds in 21 days. That's not good. That's actually terrible. I took years off my lifespan. And then I got severely depressed because I was not told to taper off of my trend. I took it until I ran out. And then I hated bodybuilding. And I hated bodybuilding for probably a year and did not bother to touch it. And well, obviously, COVID hit too. So that kind of helped as well. I got really fat, very fat. And it took me probably a year to rebuild my relationship with food. So that's from that. It took
Mm.
years, repercussions, right? And years off of my lifespan. Then my next show prep, this one's nuts. So I got COVID like right after my second show of the season, and I couldn't taste anything. Like I went to eat post show and I couldn't taste anything. I was like, I don't even get to enjoy this shit. The person whom I was with at the time felt that coercing me with more food off of plan would make me happier after I voiced that I was scared of food, being that my first post show experience was 53 pounds in 21 days. So I gained about 30 pounds in a month off of that one. That's my second season post show. I got super depressed. Fuck it. And then my third season was 2022, was junior nationals. And after the show, instead of choosing to get fat, I got addicted to drugs. So that went very poorly by my own doing. That wasn't the show's fault. That was my fault.
Yeah.
And then last prep, I actually had a successful reverse and I didn't get fat. And that's my history with post show. It's a time where your body can either put on a lot of fat or a lot of muscle, and you only have those two options, and every moment counts.
Yeah, so I'll break down as I just had this talk with my bikini girl Riley the other day, what a post show looks like, right? And so I hate using tagline words like reversing, right?
Mhm.
Yes, sure you're reversing, but like what do you like you can't be 25 weeks post show and then posting I'm 25 weeks post show reverse going well. Like at some point you're just like getting back to maintenance calories and then getting back to surplus,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. It's like I don't like to give timelines or expectations on, oh, we're going to reverse for this long and then we're going to be in a hold and then we're going to push and we're like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like you should know, like your coach should know what they're doing. Like I don't need to give you a cool term for it. Typically how the week, like post show, like after the show, say there's no other show around, um, that night, enjoy whatever, hydrate first, enjoy whatever. Sunday, 2 to 3 clean meals, 1 to 2 off plan meals and some snacks, hydrate. Monday, you have your reverse plan, I don't call it reverse, I call it a rebound, like your rebound plan to start Monday. How that looks typically is it goes back to like one of your beginning of the week, like carb up days. So like it's moderately carb, but it's not like,
Mhm.
a full on high carb day because you're pretty, filled. I think then from there, it goes into okay, you get a little freedom this week. Like, eat all your clean meals, whatever snacks you want on top of it. Cool. Let me know if it's like getting way too aggressive. Plan on 2 free meals this week, and we'll check in on Friday. So you get 4 days of like, not being under my eye. Let's see how you can handle it. Um, you're fed enough to where you're satiating hunger, but you still have enough room where if you want some ice cream at night or whatever, you have that back because you don't want to go down that pitfall of just like eating whatever. Like I've seen people at like the morning after show wake up and just eat cake and just go raid a vending machine. It's like, what are we doing? Like it's like if you think about it, 2 weeks out, you're so excited for some sweet potato or for some rice. Like you can't just be like, oh, fuck it. Now I'm eating cake. Like your body is your body wants to get back to body fat. It wants it. And so how are you going to get it back? Because it's going to get back regardless. So what are you
Yeah.
going to fill that with? Are you going to fill it with good quality food sources and you can continue to train, or are you just going to eat like an asshole? Like if you do it right, you can stay lean and eating a ton of food
Mhm.
into 12, 14, 20 weeks post show. Um,
Yeah.
and that's an ideal like rebound situation. Now, where the quote blues come in is you have this goal in mind, and then now all of a sudden you have nothing to chase.
Mhm.
And so I'll use Candace as an example because she was in a very odd spot. Like the goal for nationals was first call out. We got third. We were one spot away from a card, and all they said was you just need to be a little bigger everywhere. So,
Mm,
which it's valid. Like because she was like, what I just feel like, I knew I need to focus on this. Like what I need to focus on. Like honestly, like, I wish I could pinpoint it, but it's just everything. Like everything just has to get a little better. And so that time is for like dropping fatigue down one, and but more so importantly, like prioritizing training, getting her, ready for her next training block and getting new movement patterns in play. But then two, just letting her body breathe a little bit. Um, but mentally it can get kind of fucked because you're like, damn, like I was chasing this thing and now I don't really have anything to chase. And it's okay. Like how I got her out of it was I pulled her down, her training days down to just 4 days a week. And she's
mhm.
like, I don't know like how I feel about that. She started feeling better, she started training better. And then finally, like it could kind of pick back up and that motivation comes back. But, outside of that, like if you're somebody that gets beat at like a local regional show, I don't know why I'd have to motivate you to do anything.
Run
Like
it.
I just lost a jiu-jitsu match. No one has to tell me shit to get motivated to go do that again.
Yeah.
Like I can't relate to people who lose and need motivation still. Like I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't, it's
Yeah.
like you want to come at me with some blues, like I'm the wrong guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot. So and kind of going back to the strategy when it comes to post show, I think one thing too that I look at is trying to load up on as much micronutrients as humanly possible coming out. So using, I think fruits and veggies are your best friends post show, especially those who might struggle with binging. Now, if you are someone who has that relationship, I wouldn't necessarily advise show prep until you feel very confident about your relationship with food as someone who has had issues with binge eating in the past. Um, but that's how the approach needs to look. Is like I'm a firm believer. Saturday night, you should have your plan in hand of what the coming days needs to look like. If it's given to you before then, I'm gravely concerned at what that could look like. It's usually let me look at my keyboard, Control V, Control C, Control V, excuse me. And so but yeah, it's kind of a similar approach that I take is like ideally I'm already trying to gradually bring food up into the ideally 2 weeks out peak week through show weekend. So we're kind of just trying to ride that train back up because the goal, and this is where post show also gets a little bit challenging. Throughout show prep, our entire value system is body weight going down, so the scale going down, and visually we're getting harder and sharper and leaner every single week. And we're posting more and more and more as we get deeper in prep and we're more confident in how we look. And then you're starting to get more support from those around you, right? Oh, dude, you look great. You're shredded. You're whatever. But what I find is you start developing this like almost appetite for reassurance and approval, whether it's through social media directly, as we see with a lot of people, which is just the part of that beast, or it's in person, or it's whatever, or it's your coach. But you're like, I need to make sure I look okay because you don't always know where you're supposed to be and kind of how that's supposed to look. So you're always, hey, coach, what do you think? Okay, you look good. Great. Awesome. It's not even like inflating your ego. It's just trying to like break the contradiction of your ego and id and like bring them level. But over time, that bar raises. Closer you get to show, the more and more hype, the more anticipation, the more attention, the more whatever, the more dopamine. And that's like our only dopamine source because we can't lean on food to be the one thing we need. Show weekend comes and goes like that. And then what? Now your 15 minutes of fame is over. By Tuesday, we've all forgotten, right? But by Tuesday, you've also had food, you've had sugar, and you haven't had sugar in a minute. So now your brain goes, that is the dopamine that I really fucking want.
Yeah.
And your value system starts to shift. And then combined with the whole idea of, well, I have nothing to really work towards tomorrow. And that's what we're used to is tomorrow. I'm just going to keep eating. And then that creates this complex. And that was a complex that I lived in for a long time post show, where my value system the whole time was, oh, I'm going to be so happy when I get that fucking whatever food I craved. And then you eat it and it's cool for 3 minutes and then it's gone. It's gone. You know what I mean? Right. And so then you start to see your physique shift, right? We see body weight come up as it's supposed to. Well, that wasn't good for 20 weeks. So that's got to be bad now. We start to see our look soften up a little bit. It's supposed to. Like, and that's where it comes down to having a coach who gives a shit to sit down with you and help reframe that value system post show. For the girls, it's hey, let's get our period back as quickly as we can. You
Mhm.
know, for our guys, it's I mean, it's a combination of everything, but it's like, hey, let's get hormonally shifted back. Let's get on TRT. Let's make sure our blood work's clean in 12 weeks. And now it's, hey, are we shitting every day? That's awesome. Are we sleeping better? That's awesome. Are we getting better pumps in the gym? That's awesome. So we have to look at the biofeedback side of things as our value system. And that's hard because it's not as sexy as, oh, I've got a new vein today, or oh, I've got my diet face, or oh, I've got this. And that's why you get depressed because you don't understand what your expectations of yourself need to be anymore. So therefore, you feel like it's always a disappointment to yourself when in
Yeah.
reality, it's not. One thing that I've done, I'll use Mary as an example. You know, Mary's an incredible athlete. She's very goal oriented. And we had to sit down after show because now we're not doing a ton of cardio. We have all this extra free time. And I had to sit down with her and like it's in her spreadsheet of like, these are your goals outside of fitness. I need you to spend 30 minutes on a hobby every day that's not fitness related. I need you to spend 30 minutes dedicated to self care. I need you to take 10 minutes every morning and text a few people that you love, that you care about them, and you hope they have a great day. Like those are the lists that I gave her. And then secondary to that, I gave her these are our priority muscle groups that we need to improve upon. And these are the movements that are going to help that happen. So these are our primary focuses in the gym that we need to get gradually stronger and improve our format. So it's like, hey, I'm going to give you now training goals since we're not as visually oriented right this second. And then outside of fitness goals so that we're not just constantly burnt out with what we're existing in.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the time too, like we talked about, like when your relationship with friends, family, whatever, that's the time to make like fill that gap and do that stuff with them, you know. For me, that's always the best time to go on vacation is like 3 to 5 weeks post show.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're in this spot of where you're I gotta plug in my computer of where your metabolism's in a good enough spot where you can get away with eating like semi off plan for a couple
Mm-hmm.
days, but you're not in that tragic spot where you're literally a day out, or excuse me, like 2 days post show, and then you're hitting up a cruise liner. Like that's not good. So you've kind of fought the first wave of the rebound and the water retention and like all the random hunger, queuing. But that 3 to 5 spot, even 6 weeks post show, like that's a good spot to go and like take an additional rest day, enjoy some more feel because you're gonna look great, especially if you go. I'm thinking of a beach, but like you go somewhere where your shirt's off, or you're in a bikini, whatever, like you're gonna still look really good, be nice and
Mm-hmm.
full, veins everywhere, and your body can get away with that stuff. So that would be an ideal time post shows to take that trip. Again, family, significant other, spend some quality time with them, and then you can come back and you can start like, all right, let's crank things up again as long as we're healthy.
Yeah, it's the way it's like it's a wave, right? So if we're looking, if like right here is show day, we're coming down and then we have to come back up at a very similar pace. So
Mhm.
what that means is 3 weeks post show because you feel really energetic because you ripped a cinnamon roll and a monster does not mean your body's healthy yet. You're not back yet.
Yeah.
Like the time that it takes in a prep, I would say, especially the deeper end of it. So let's say 12 weeks. That's like the minimal required amount of time to start getting you back to homeostasis, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like some people are sooner, some people are later. It just depends on the circumstances. But you have to look at prep in that context of once we get off stage, we're not done like at
No.
all,
Yeah.
at all. And to your same point, like that also shouldn't be when you decide to stop being motivated because motivated or committed, dedicated, whatever fucking word you want to use, you choose to do this. And if you actually are about it, you'll keep choosing to do it regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah.
Um, but it's time, right? Weeks. It's not a couple days. It's not, a cheat meal away. So we have to treat that time as seriously with what we're given as far as advisory goes and direction as when we were in prep. So that means if you do a post show right, you can get your food very high and stay very lean, which is an ideal circumstance as we want you to stay insulin sensitive and not get chubby. you can also do it very, very wrong. But if you stick to the plan and just accept the suffering or whatever the restriction that was present previously that you chose to do because you knew you were getting on stage naked and you had abs, so it didn't matter. It still has to matter now.
Hmm.
But if you choose that, I always explain it, you get to unlock more food sooner. You get
Yep.
to unlock less cardio sooner. Right. So it's like, okay, we might have a couple not fun days, but check in on Thursday. Oh, cool. Dropped in weight. Hunger's up. Let's add in more food. See you Tuesday. And we keep rinsing and repeating. But if it's like, hey, coach, I ate my meals and I also had 6 packs of Pop Tarts.
Yeah.
What do I do? Metformin's not fixing that, honey.
Yeah.
Like we're fucked.
It's you can, and again, that goes back to like it's very time sensitive. That first 6, 8 weeks, you can get very fat very fast, and we can't undo it, and we're
Mm-mm.
fucked. Because then we have this ceiling of poor hormones, thyroid, ghrelins all out of whack. Like you're just fucked all around. And then, your baseline food is not shit because you didn't allow us to get it back up high. You went and ate like crazy. And then you come back and you're like, well, now I'm fat. It's like, yeah, I told you, like, what'd you expect? Like, we didn't just look like this by accident. Like, you have to, a reverse is reversing what you did. So like
Yeah.
you could literally just like go repeat backwards your entire prep and probably look better if that's, if
Mm-hmm.
you really wanted to do it. I find a lot of times that's when people quit. It's like they'll get done with the show. All right, thanks, coach. Appreciate it. Like, okay. And then they'll come back in a year and, hey man, ready to do it again? Sure, bro. Yeah. Look the exact same. But yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
I got
It's
a
like
job to do. Yeah.
and dude, it's incredibly frustrating because we this calendar back there is a good example. So if I spend the top row of that prepping and then I fuck up August, I'm gonna have to spend the rest of this calendar trying to fix August.
Hmm.
When instead, if we nailed a reverse, we could start growing probably like right here and start an improvement season and probably start prep right here in a much better place.
Yeah.
But now, if we spend the rest of the year fixing it, now we start improvement season here, and then we have to start it going through here. So now you're gonna like I'm. It sounds insane, but it's like a ripple effect. Or if like you drop a rock in a pool, the wave gets worse. So if you fuck up this month, you're going to fuck up an entire year in reality. I've done it myself.
Yeah, man, when we like, and hopefully people now can see my athletes I'm putting out this year. They're not new athletes. They've been working all last year because they're 23 prep. We reversed right on in, and that's where these substantial gains come from. It's not the one off-season cycle we did. It's like they hit the ground running because you're prepping, and I say this to athletes who genuinely want to try to go pro, you're just cleaning your slate again and you're
Mhm.
starting your stage like body that day is you're now ground zero for the next time you're building. So if you can lock in as an athlete and think, oh, this is my fresh start. I'm as lean as I need to be. I'm as small as I will get. Now it's time to make it better for the next time. And I can get you women 20, 30 pounds bigger. Guys, I can get 40, 50 pounds bigger if you let me, if you do it right. Now there are some people who are just genetically fat and I can't feed them as fast. There's people I need to diet them longer, even after their show. I'm like, hey, I gotta keep pushing you. I'm sorry. Obviously we'll get some freedom when we can, but given your genetic predisposition, we're kind of screwed. So this just is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, I have to be, I would say realistically, if I look at 2023's prep versus now, I was not this lean until 12 weeks out. And I'm also 24 pounds heavier.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you want, man. Um, so yeah, I'm excited for it.
It's gonna be cool. X weeks out, baby.
Yeah.
Um, those who know, I will continue to tease and joke about what shows I'm doing until we decide. Um, who knows? But no, I think that's the biggest thing with post shows. Like it has to be taken as seriously given the circumstances. But if you, it's like, dude, if you can just grit your teeth for like 2 more weeks, like we will have a little bit more cushion, and then a little bit more cushion. We're constantly trying to expand that, But at the same rate, too, you also have to be aggressively honest with your coach. Because
Yeah.
if you fuck off, you have to tell me. Like you have to tell me because we're not only we're dealing with a lot of different things, but we're looking at if you start binge eating and you start retaining fluid, now I have to worry about your blood pressure, heart health, and kidneys. And
Mhm.
once you lose your kidneys, they're gone. And I don't want to be on dialysis. If you start eating off plan and we start getting to the point where our fasted blood glucose is 110 and you're like, oh no, but I'm following the plan, coach. Well, then you're diabetic. And that didn't just happen, right? It's like we're looking at like not like we're looking at very serious repercussions and people don't want to just own that. Like if you tell me, at least I understand and I can try to swing for the fence as far as a safety net strategy to prevent this from reoccurring. But if it's just, hey, coach, I don't follow the plan perfectly, why'd I gain 12 pounds?
Yeah.
Don't please, like, please don't do that.
For my analytic nerds out there, don't get caught up on that 110 fasted blood sugar reading. It's still not technically within range of prediabetes. That is a far larger scale. So, guys, if you hear that, don't panic and come at us. And clients don't come at us like, oh my gosh, I'm diabetic. And then statistic nerds don't come out there and be like, well, actually, the parameters are this, and you need to be there. Like, I know, like, I got
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
Yeah.
for the sake of what you're saying, yes, thank you for that.
Yeah, like yeah, I just don't want to see a week post show a triple digit
Yes,
reading.
yes.
Like that's where it's concerning. Contextually, when it's a 50-point swing, let me put it that way.
I knew what you were saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just didn't want
Yeah.
our listeners to come have a field day with it.
All right,
Mhm.
guys, I'm so sorry. But yeah, it's like you got to be honest and you just got to eat it. As uncomfortable as it is, the thing that I remind myself when I want to eat something is, would I eat this in front of my coach? Probably not. So then I don't.
Yeah, you'd probably just be drinking water in front of me.
I'm trying to be better about that.
Mhm.
But that I mean, that's the biggest thing is it's going to require much like even in prep. It's like you need trust, but it's because there's always this thing whispering in the back of your ear of like, well, you don't have to take your shirt off. You don't have to get on stage. You don't have to do this, that, and the third. But you should still hold yourself to the standard in which you want to achieve. And I have a lot of people who want to be a professional bodybuilder. I would love to be one. So therefore I need to act as one because it's not just going to happen.
Yeah, and and that's why staying with a coach through your rebound into your off season matters because we're sometimes that's all we're there for is just that accountability. And
Mm-hmm.
shit, like I got to check in with coach in 3 days. I better not eat this. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if that's all we're good for, then so be it. Like
Yeah.
that's what you need in that moment.
I mean, it's saving you at the end of the day. And to your point, it's like if your coach is good, give him a couple seasons to see what's up,
Yeah.
because we talked about this Monday with Austin. I remember in 2023, I was very happy with how I looked. Same with Colvin, same with Neely. I remember looking at in those moments being like, shit. But then now I look back and I'm like, that's it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
It's
Like I'm gonna act like that didn't happen. Because it's like you at that in that moment, and I made a post about it. If you can consistently look back at a moment that you felt you were your best and scoff, then you're doing the right things.
yeah, and you can't, and that's what I posted on Neely's post the other day. I was like, man, there's nothing else we could have done. Like,
Mm-mm.
there's not, and as athletes, as long like the next time you get on stage from the one show to the next, you need to be honest with yourself and ask, is there anything else I could do? And if the answer is no, like honestly, if the answer is no, then you need to be proud of whatever outcome happens.
You
Because
got to
like,
be at peace with it.
yeah, like that's what I tell Neil. I said, bro, like, dude, I don't know what else you want. Like, I don't know. You're looking for stuff that's not there, you know?
Yeah, it's like
That's a
it's
whole
impossible.
different, it's a whole different topic though.
It's again, it's like I look at it, I'm like, bro, like you can't ask for more in this amount of time and everything else. Like, dude, it's spectacular. Like, what? Just be happy with it because it's a
Yeah.
lot cooler when you can be. Um, yeah, post show's challenging, and I will say this, like, it's 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 hard to be perfect or deemed perfect in a post show phase, especially your first one. Your
Hmm.
first one, like I anticipate some oopsies, I anticipate some fucks. But if you can learn from it in that moment and like know not to maybe do that again, there's value in that because you're learning better
Yeah.
dedication, better commitment to the process. So it's not all bad. It's just how you frame that. But again, like you got to let your coach know, like in the moment, hey, I'm having a moment or whatever it may be. Um, I've done had many client calls to talk them off the ledge
Hmm.
in a Kroger parking lot, wanting to go
Yeah.
get muffins.
You can, and I can feed you more. I can up your
Yeah,
protein. I can up your veggies. I can make sure you're not starving. Like,
yeah,
but you just got to let us know.
yeah. You want to do posing or annoying things that clients do?
Ooh, we can hit both. We can hit both and wrap it up.
Let's do it. So posing has gotten out of control.
So out of control, man. Like, and when I think of this, I think of men's physique and classic physique. Um, it's so like it's just so much, man. It's just so much. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just so much swaying with arms, and now like there's like trying to dance, and like everyone does like the claw like thing, and like they're Sub-Zero. It's it and that's fine if you want to perform, like so be it. But so help me God, if you can't hold your mandatories and your quarter turns, I'm gonna rip you a fucking new one. Like I'm going to light you up. If you ask me what your favorite classic pose should be, but you can't do your mandatories right, or you can't do your front relax and quarter turns right, I'm going to have a field day with you. And not because I'm mean or whatever, but like the it is so important. Like judges take a piss and chew gum and text while you're doing your routine. I hate to tell you. At the
Yep.
amateur level, that's what they do. They'll leave that they literally go pee, chew gum, and text. Watch. Just watch the table. Like because like what do we all do when there's 100 different, routines going on? We don't pay attention to all of them. We'll hear a nice song come on and we'll chime in and perk up, or it's one of our buddies, but like we don't watch every single one. So like while yes, have creativity, enjoy it, that's your moment, please shine. I'm not taking that away from you. But if you're there to compete, you need to be very good at what is judged and and what you're competing against. And you're gonna win or lose off your quarter turns, like
Mm-hmm.
hands down. Then if it's close, you're win or losing on who can hold their mandatories the most. And I guarantee you, by the time you get to your favorite classic, it is already done. It's already
Yeah.
done. Like I've seen it. I've been on a panel. I've seen it.
Yeah, I think a couple things. Going to men's physique, they actually, I think it was Steve or Sandy that put out a video talking about it. They don't want the theatrics of the transition. They don't want that because again, we're up there to judge a body. You need to
Yeah.
get in your front pose and hold that shit, and then get in your back pose and hold that shit, and then get back in your front pose, wave and get off. Because if you have a 10 seconds and you're spending 7 of those seconds in all these transitions and fucking whatever, and you're not in your pose, you're not being judged for that. They
Yeah.
want to see front, back, front.
Yeah.
Spend time in your front. And again, if you have a physique worth of shit, it should do the talking for itself, not spinning your arm and stirring the fucking pot and doing the side tricep and the fucking whatever and the jerk. Just get in the bitch and hold it.
Yeah.
Have some class to it, but like again, the problem is, and I respect men's physique. Like let me completely preface that at the upper end, regionally, nationally, professionally, I love men's physique. I love watching it from a coach's perspective. I admire the fractional percentages of being on or off, making all the difference in your look. I love that. Where it creates a mockery or where it gets a mockery is how some of these turds act on stage
Yeah.
when we're fucking making a dance of it, you
Yeah.
know?
I coach a men's physique pro. Like
Yeah.
we're not morphing for Dragon Ball Z when we pose. Like and same thing with classic and bodybuilding. You have 7 seconds to get in your pose.
Mm-hmm.
Literally 7 seconds. Count. Watch. I know what I'm talking about. Count. Next time you go, you need to be the first in your pose every time, and you need to hold it. If you're doing all these different little like morphin, whatever, glide the hand up your hamstring, and you're not in your pose, they're going. Judges look up. over, down, up, over, down. Right. That's what they do. If you're not in your pose, unless you're just a freak of freaks, they're not going to wait on you. They're just not. And if you're trying to go to nationals, see you. They don't care.
Yeah.
You get a
Yeah.
front relaxed, a front double, a back relaxed, a back double.
That's it.
Get off the stage. That's all you get.
I'm going to put you onto some pregame as well, guys, as I compete in classic physique. Just because you throw your hips aggressively hard does not make it classic. And what I mean by that is just because you got to do a front double and then you do this, we're not classic. So
Yeah.
let's work on that.
Yeah.
It's like one of my biggest fucking pet peeves. I fucking hate seeing that shit. There's so many people who think they know how to pose. Hire a posing coach, like legitimately hire one. Go look at actually how old school bodybuilders posed and figure out how it fits your physique. But ultimately, too, to Alex's point, nobody watches the routine. I personally think, as a classic physique competitor, your routine should be optional. I think you should be able to opt out of it. It's not judged. For
Yeah.
those who don't know, you don't get points for it or against it. Therefore, I don't think it's necessary, as I don't want to sit through 2 hours of listening to the same Teddy Swim song.
Yeah. And again, for those who love to pose, have a field
Go
day,
for it.
please.
Not
Like
me.
entertain us. Because I will say, I'll see some posing routines, a banger beat comes on. I'm like, oh shit, this dude's got it. But it's just the reality. Not everyone's got it like that. All right. So,
Mm,
like, just don't get so caught up in the theatrics of the routine if you're not bringing it when it matters. That's my whole point. Um,
100%.
and,
100%.
and pick poses in your routine that are good. I have plenty of first timers that'll ask me, "Hey man, like, what do you think of my routine?" Honestly, go out there, hit your best shots, and get off the stage.
That's it.
That's all you gotta do. Have a song that you like, no cuss words. Have a song that fires you up that people know. All right. If you like, you may have some song. Walter Debs, beautiful poser. Poke and pose like Kai Green, does the splits, flips all that. Love it. He came out to Tank. When We by Tank, dude
Yeah.
fucked on stage. Like
Yeah.
the hardest, the hardest thing I've seen since Dirty Diana when Kai Green did it. I mean,
That is
it was
holy shit.
awesome.
Wow.
However, you'll go see some little white guy try to pose to Winwheat or Pony, and it's like, oh, you don't have that. So
Mm,
while yes, the crowd knows it, and they may get a little giggle or a laugh or oh my gosh, like it needs to match your energy.
yeah.
Like pose to something that you like. Guys, standard rock song. If you're a bodybuilder, going to hit a lot of most musculars, do All American Nightmare. It's a great
Mhm.
song. I can't remember who sings it off the top of my head. Um, it's great. Listen to it, rock out. It's good. Just do whatever you like. Like if you don't like, rock music, well, then don't go pose to AC/DC. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Or
like
Barracuda, you
yeah, like
know?
if you like some of my I like to pose because we had to do it, so I enjoyed it. But I posed to California Love by Tupac. I
Mhm.
posed to a Conor McGregor snippet and Notorious B.I.G. And then I posed to what was the one? It's from Step Up by Timberland, Bounce by Timberland. I posed
Nice.
like they're good, but those go with like my
They,
personality.
for sure.
Yeah. And so like, I wouldn't get up there and pose to, that fat country guy that you were talking about that everyone poses.
Teddy Swift.
Yeah.
Dude, losing control. Yeah, guys, let's pick a
Yeah.
different one.
Yeah.
I've posed to, and I'll also tell you this, dude. I've had the same routine roughly for like 6 years now. I made one that allowed me to showcase I basically just do a big circle on stage, and I'll change it up if I decide to like a new pose here and there. But like generally speaking, I've had the same routine. Nobody cares. I don't care because again, I'm not being judged on that part of it. And I'm not a performer in that way. I don't like being the center of attention in that way on stage. Um, I've posed to Drugs You Should Try by Travis Scott twice. I've done Mount Everest by, I can't think of who it's by. No, I've done Still Don't Know My Name by Labyrinth from the Euphoria soundtrack. I've done, I have done Mount Everest, and then I've done Work Song by Hosier.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm probably
That's
going to either post a Sleep Token or Hosier this year. I don't know yet.
yeah. That's solid. So again, like if I were to like wrap this all up, enjoy posing, enjoy your routine, have fun with it, but don't make that your sole mission if you can't quarter turn and do mandatories. Like
Yeah.
it's just not, they just don't care. Like they don't care. Like we as a coach, as an audience member, as a fan, want to see you win your competition more than your posing routine. If you know you're not pretty good, yeah, focus on your routine. Sure. Have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if I can give any advice, it was I've had preps where I've not spent enough time posing, and I've had preps where I've spent enough time posing. Do the extra rounds, do the extra holds, spend more time doing that than recording you hitting the Ziz pose in the fucking gym locker room. You know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, like we're there to compete, and you're going to go out there with like 10 dudes, and some of them have done their homework. And that's the game of bodybuilding. It's not even as much about like to Alex's point last episode, they're looking at what's wrong. So that is part of what can be wrong. If I do my job and I practice my posing every day, and you stand beside me and you don't, you can't hide that. It will show.
Yeah. If we break during posing rounds, like start sweating, can't control our belly, but then you're like, dude, that was a sick routine, wasn't it? I'm gonna freak out.
I'm
Just-
gonna beat the
I'm
brakes
gonna
off.
lose my mind. Yeah. We're just gonna
Yeah.
go out in the parking lot and grapple, like just right there.
Yeah, we're not coming back for finals. Or I guess we are back for finals. We're not going to Cheesecake Factory. I'm
Yeah.
kicking your ass.
I'm like, no, eat by
Um,
yourself.
transitioning, annoying things that clients can do.
Asking what favorite classic pose they should do before
Yeah,
court. No,
yeah,
I'm kidding. I coach some classic pros.
yeah.
It it does matter, but not really. I'm having fun with it. Um, and this is funny because it was asked by a client of mine who doesn't really do anything. Like if I answer something that a client does to annoy me, it's not that like I don't like that client. Like I said, this guy doesn't really do anything wrong. He's actually really fun to coach. But if I were to think just like general annoyances, I've gone about the grocery store. Like I'm about to go grocery shopping. What do I need to change? Like this is gonna drive me nuts. This is gonna give me an ick. Um, Another one is if people will ask if I meant to change something. Like they're like, did you mean to did you mean to only give me 20 grams of peanut butter in this meal? Did you mean to pull, you know, the orange out of this meal? I'm like, yeah, I did. Absolutely, I did. That gets under my skin. 9 out of 10 times, yes, I meant to do it. 1 out of 10 times, probably even less than that. It is something that is usually an app error or you know some type of error.
Mhm.
Obviously, if I put 200 grams of peanut butter instead of 20, yes, that's an error. I did not mean to do that.
It's a
But if I
mistake.
make a dietary change, like yeah, probably meant to do it, that probably gets under my skin. People putting yes when asked if they followed their plan, and then they didn't follow their plan. Drives me that gets annoying. Because it's like, did you follow plan? Yes, but did not follow plan. And then they tell me why. It's like, okay, so no. Um, That's probably three basic. What do you have?
Mine, a lot of mine kind of fall in line with that. I think the first one's my favorite. Hey, run to the grocery store. Any changes? I'm like, unless you, I'll tell you guys right now, unless you are having a digestive issue that we talked about, I'm not just randomly changing your food. I'm not, because again, I like to take into consideration that sometimes my check-ins are sent on a Sunday afternoon and you can't run to the grocery store. So therefore, I don't expect you to swap your whole diet or add in new things. I'm also, again, not going to do that from a digestive health perspective. So that's what you're saying is, hey, I'm really impatient for my update and I'm trying to think of a way to ask you without asking you. We all know it's awkward. Just don't do that. So that's one of them. I think another one, the did you mean to is obviously like
Mhm.
can be annoying because it's like I looked at your update, I thought about things, and then I clicked some things, and then I recorded a video that I sent to you explaining these things, and then I sent it to you, and you just didn't watch that. So that's what annoys me. I think that's my biggest pet peeve, dude, because like you know me, I provided an absurd amount of information at all times
Mhm.
with fucking Loom recordings like you do, with introductory guides, with this, that, and the third. I have an issue when I hand all of this to you that you've paid for. You've said, give me these things and I'll give you my dollars. And I say, here are things, and you give me dollars, and now you have things and I have dollars. And then you don't read the fucking things that you bought, but then you ask me questions that occupy more of my time, which you did technically pay for, that are answered in the thing that you just didn't read.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I give you those things on purpose. And that is to help save me more time of having to explain, but also to make sure that everything is covered in accordance and correctly. So just take the time to read what I put out or the videos that I make, because a lot of times that answers itself. Now, if it's a, hey, didn't understand this answer, by all means, I understand not everybody responds and receives the same way. That's a big one of, I'm not going to take my time, I'm going to take yours instead. That is an annoyance for me. That's a major ick. um oh, another one, you know, a client telling me they're going to take testosterone today,
Yeah.
when it was a, I'm not asking, when the voicemail was, I'm not asking permission, I'm
Yeah.
letting you know, we're
Yeah.
done.
I'm trying to think of it's not a current client thing, but like people will approach me and be like, "Hey, I've thought about working with you, or I've considered letting you coach me." And I'm like, "Shit, thanks,
Hell
appreciate it,
yeah.
dude. Like, what a compliment. Like, and I get it. Like, they're trying to be nice, but it's just like." You could word it a little better where you're like, man, you know what? I've always wondered what it'd be like to be one of your athletes. That sounds a little better. Not like I'm just some option, which, like, yes, I know I'm an option, but like, I want you to make me feel like I'm the only one in the world, says Rihanna, right? Like, make me feel that way.
I want to
Like,
feel special.
yeah, like I know there's a coach on every corner now, but that, and then some of my really good at like my genetically superior athletes love to not follow their training plans. Just
Mhm.
love to just do whatever, right? And then they come into issues or they come into discrepancies in their physique or they come into underdeveloped physique. And I'm like, oh, well, hey, well, yeah, well, what am I doing this? I'm like, well, I don't know. You didn't really utilize my help. So, like, why would I put forth effort? Like, or yeah, like I told you it was going to be this way. I had your training set up to prevent this from happening, but here we are because you chose to do what you enjoyed doing rather than what I said was going to work. And that's probably the most frustrating. That one of the most frustrating things because it's like when you work with when you work with someone who is upper echelon genetics, every time they step in the gym floor matters. And it's like,
Mhm.
we cannot waste time. Um, and I had the debate with a few people this year, like, Austin, perfect example. Man, my legs are too big. My legs are big. Legs aren't that big now, bro. Like, they're big, but they're not that big, right? And so it's like, why, why not just have really good legs? Like,
Yeah,
why not be the amateur with really good legs who just still needs to bring up their upper body
for
rather
sure.
than like let me downsize my amateur legs to still be amateur and then just catch up my amateur upper body. That doesn't make sense. But
Yep.
you live and learn, and then now here we are,
We're
get
learning.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
it's part of it. But I think
you got to, but here's, I will tell you this too. I've had to learn that you have to let people learn however
Yeah.
they're going to learn. And I'll try to teach you. And I'm, again, everything that I am doing is because I genuinely, in my heart of hearts, think it is in best interest for you first and me following. That is all that matters, right? In this symbiotic relationship of coach and athlete, I put you first, me second, and I'm making sure you're the best. It is up to you to do that. And
Yeah.
I will beg and plead, and I will use every value system under the sun of that fact that you've paid me, you've put trust in me, da 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 da. It's still up to you to do that. And
Yeah.
if you decide not to, then one day we're going to have to learn. And that's not fun when we could have just done it the right way the first time, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Like you have me here. Like you pay for me, like use it. Like and I think that if I were to summarize, like I've got another girl, Haley, 19, freak genetics, but like she just does what she wants. And I'm like, I could help you capitalize on this. And that's where sometimes I run into that issue. It's like it's almost like you think I haven't been here before. Like it's almost like you don't know my track record. It's like you don't know my experience because you're not fully trusting in me to get you there. Like,
mhm,
and again, but like you said, we let them learn. And
yeah,
because I'm not going to beg you to follow my training plan. I'm not going to beg you to follow my diet. You're either going to do it or you're not. And I'm
proof's
at
in
the
the pudding.
point, yeah, like I'm at the point where I'll like eventually I'm like, just don't work with me if you're not going to follow it. But then again, on the flip side, I do have some athletes who are very well in tune with their body and they talk like for you, for example, like you tell me what you like in training, you create it, I yay or nay it, give you a couple substitution, a couple options, and then you run with it. I'm fine with that. But like at least run it by me, you know?
Because that's what I was going to say to you. Because like I asked you last year around this time for an arm workout because I hate training arms.
Hmm?
Because when, let me circle you back 2 years ago when Alex and I started together, it was, we'd had the conversation and I was like, hey man, I'm good to handle my own training. And that's when we started this process of like, I'm gonna let you know what I've written up. I'll let you assess it, look over it, let me know your thoughts, and we'll kind of just run with that.
Yeah.
Because I've handled my training for over a decade now, but I know my arms suck. And so I know in a coachability standpoint, I need to be told what to do in that world until I learn to love training arms. Over the last year, I've done the same arm workout that you wrote me every time, and
Yeah.
my arms have grown. But
Yeah.
because I utilized what I needed for in that moment was, hey, I can't figure this out, or I don't care to figure this out. Give me this. You gave it to me, and now I look to it every fucking arm workout, and lo and fucking behold, my arms have grown.
Yeah, and it's not like I don't need to be like the big, you know what, in the room. Like I don't need to be that guy. But like at least utilize me and like let's come up with something together
For sure.
where like we can at least collab on it. Cause like, I work with pros, I work with coaches, like I coach coaches, significant others. Like I promise you, I at least know enough where I should at least be a filter you run
Mm-hmm.
your ideas through and let me perfect it. Like, use
Mm-hmm.
me as like, spell check or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, like before you turn in, an essay. Like, at least let me perfect it and make sure it's perfect. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a ego thing. It's not I sit on my high horse and y'all bow to my training protocols, but it's like, I know what I'm doing, and I've probably experienced something myself or with other athletes who are in the same spot you were in, and I know what worked for them,
Mm-hmm.
and I will help you along the way.
Yeah, like again, it's like help me, help you, help both of us by being successful. Because it's, again, this is a well, I was gonna say this is a industry that's reliant on client success, but people can bullshit. But in our case, I have to produce results. Therefore, I am mutually, if not more, invested in my client's success because if they suck, I don't keep a roof over my head. So I need to make sure you're great. So let me pour that into you and just do it because I have, like, again, I've had to have this conversation one time before, and I'm all about this being a collaborative process when I work with my athletes. Again, to the same degree, I have people who can handle a lot of their training, all of their training, some of their training, or none of their training, and everything between. But it's always how it's presented. And it's a, hey, question, or hey, can I run this by you? I can't do the, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Cause I'm like, then why am I here? Especially if it's wrong. Why am I here? Or whatever it may be. Or now this has turned into a weird dynamic because what are you paying me for? And why do I think that if you're going to take this part of the plan and say you're not going to do what I say and you're going to do your own thing, why do I expect you not to do that with any other part of the plan? And
Yeah,
then where are we at?
and it's almost like, okay, well, maybe I need to do a better job at explaining why this way is going to work. And
Yeah.
so that'll be my first attempt. And then second attempt,
Yeah.
okay, like let me at least give you parameters. All right. And then, see how that works. And then try to work it back in. But luckily, like all my athletes listening, like luckily all you guys are pretty solid like on that,
Mm-hmm.
The ones who don't do this are the ones who, I'm friends with anyway. And maybe that's part of the problem is maybe, some of them look at me as a friend in some ways and like, oh, he'll let me do my own thing. But in reality, like I'm here to help make you better. And not run into the issues that I ran into. And then, part of my job now is like I sit on calls with Luke and John and I learn new stuff too. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like, let me share my new stuff with you, whether you want to apply it or not, I don't know. But like, at least let me continue my continuing education and educating you, and you can do it or not. It's just like with anything, you're going to eat your meals or you're not. You're going to inject what you want. You can do more, you can do less. Like, I can't control it, but in the end of the day, like, I can at least give you enough to know what you should be doing.
Yeah. And then like don't point the finger in the wrong direction,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I think that is my biggest pet peeve. My biggest pet peeve and biggest annoyance in coaching is I'm good to go at whatever pace that someone wants to go at. If we have set expectations and a timeline and we're upholding it and they're happy with it, they're happy with it. Now, that's because I work with lifestyle and competitors. So I'm talking more of my lifestyle people. If we're good with this rate, let's keep it going. The issue is when you have somebody who their ego and efforts and expectations, none of them align. And they're like, I want to be Mr. Olympia, but fuck your plan. Or I want to be Mr. Olympia, or I want to win a show in 6 weeks, but I'm not going to get up to do cardio or whatever. Any of that in itself already frustrates me because I'm like, why? Any whatever. I can rip my hair out about it. But then when it's also flipped around of, hey, Alex, I want to be a pro in 6 weeks. I'm not going to follow my diet. Why the fuck can't you figure it out?
Yeah.
And then it's your fault now. That's when I'm like, dude, what are you? You are lack so much accountability as a human.
Yeah. And that's where, like, as a coach, I got to wrap up here in like a minute.
Yep. Yep.
That's why, as a coach, I'm going to, along the way, tell you what needs to be done and what my expectations are so that we don't get to that end road and you're like, well, this is your fault. And I'm like, no, I've been telling you along the way. You've just chosen not to listen. So yeah,
So choose to listen.
that's probably my, I guess icks as a coach. Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately, all my people have been great. The one part we parted ways today. So, but on that note, thank you guys for listening to the Coaches Union. We're going to continue to try to upgrade and improve this. So if you can leave us a 5-star review on Spotify for those listening there, on YouTube, if you can give us a thumbs up, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I think those are all of them. We would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, thank you for listening.